I just turned 31 years old, which is kind of wild. And in a way, I can literally say that I wasted my 20s. I think that there is so much pressure from the society, our parents, and all our environment about being adult and matching with their expectation and the direction that they set for you. And I would say even more from ourselves. We have kind of like an image of where we want to be by a certain age, from having a certain lifestyle with a car or a home, or having a high-paying job. But the thing is, we dive into this adulthood while we are basically a kid, especially thinking about 18, 19, 20 years old. And the thing is that we have some amazing experiences during our 20s. We fall in love, traveling, potentially at some point we have a decent job. But the truth is that all these cool experiences still comes with anxiety, comparing yourself with other people. So this video I want to talk about the things I wanted to know before I turned 30 and some powerful Greek philosophy secrets that I now realized it can govern my life and give me the right direction on what to do next. And just to be sure we're on the same page, it doesn't matter even if you're not 20s, you're older, you're younger. Everyone has a different pace, everyone has a different timing, it doesn't matter. Let's be honest, when you go into your 20s, you actually have an expectation of exactly how it will look like. It might be that you have to get married, you have to find a good job, or go to university. For me, I had a specific expectation set by my professor subconsciously, going to bachelor's, master's, PhD, and then becoming a doctor. So he kind of set and laid down all my path from 18 to 27, year by year, subconsciously. So most of the time you have kind of like an icon, a motivation, either within your real life or from social media to a book, that makes you move towards a direction. Probably this person is free, is on a good financial position, is able to travel, or you're able to see that they have a good lifestyle. You see only the surface level of where this person are. For example, for me, it was my professor. So I was following blindly the subconscious expectation that this person was putting on me. And don't get me wrong, that was one of the best experiences of my life, but it was also creating a shadow within the direction of my life. You will encounter this paradox between your ideal reality and your actual current reality. In Plato's theory from Greek philosophy, this is called ideal form. So eidos in Greek means kind. Plato's point is actually brutally simple, which is that nothing really matches the ideal state we put in our minds. Not for you, but also not for anyone else. Even the person on Instagram that they show this ideal life, they are also an imperfect person that is chasing the ideal eidos. So we are imperfect copies, comparing ourselves to other imperfect copies, thinking that that's perfection. So the move is not for you to close the gap, but the move is to realize that this image was never yours to begin with. So you are chasing someone else's ideal eidos. And that's actually hurting your 20s instead of having that time to reflect on yourself and your personal direction. I was chasing the direction that my professor put on me, which was to become a professor too. And that was taking away my 20s from finding what is my ideal direction for who I am, for my vibration. I'm curious, like, you can let me down in the comments if you prefer for you to be realistic or you would rather dream big. In my opinion, and what I learned through my life, is that we are taught to stay and be realistic. Most people are driven by certainty and safety, and they want us to be realistic in order for us to be safe, especially our parents. And they do that on the best of their intention. They do that for us. But as a soul, when you were a kid, you were always dreaming big, because our soul wants to realize the highest level of your growth on body, mind, and spirit, and to realize your full potential. And not to follow someone else's potential, like we were talking with Instagram, but to realize who you want to be and who you are and why you came here in this earth. So along the journey of being adult and maturing, even though we love to dream big, we are learning slowly to set as low our expectations and to protect ourselves. So our ambitions and dreams become lower and lower. And that's one of the things that solidified to me during my 20s, to chase whatever I want to do. The other very important lesson I learned during my 20s is learning how to love yourself and how to take care of yourself. When we get out of school and we move towards university, we are getting drowned by all these expectations and direction that the people around us is giving us. So a lot of us, when we are perfectionists, we start working very hard and we start moving towards a direction that we don't really care about ourselves. We just try to be as productive as possible. So these pains and struggles from your parents, sometimes we are talking about epigenetics, they are transferred from them to us subconsciously. It almost feels like we are supposed to deal with someone else's shit. Like we are not focusing on how to create a great life and a good relationship with ourselves, but it almost feels like it's selfish to take time to spend with ourselves and take care of ourselves. But the thing is that almost everyone at some point, and I hope that's your moment, will come to the realization that at any point in your life, you can start taking care of yourself and start spending quality time with yourself. The one thing though is that you should never rush into the result and the conclusion of where you want to go. One important Greek philosophy is from Heraclitus, and what he simply said that stuck with me was that you cannot step into the same river twice because fresh water is flowing in upon you. It basically implies that the world around you, but also yourself, is always changing. And us wanting to go back to a specific point in time, it actually hurts us. The river actually looks exactly the same, but the water within it is completely different. It's the same way that you look almost exactly the same, but you are a completely different person than you were 1 year ago. In our 20s, we tend to try to be the same sometimes in order to conform within the same group of friends, people, or relationships that we were a year ago. Sometimes it feels very painful for us to be changing because the people around us don't want us to change. They feel uncomfortable because the majority of people, they are driven by certainty. But for you to be here at this moment of the video, probably you're not. The fact that you're driven by growth, it means that you're constantly changing. But this brings a natural conflict between your new self and the people around you, because the people around you don't want you to change. And when we see ourselves as a river that always changes even though we look the same, it's actually for me a beautiful analogy that gave me the permission to be able to always change and not feel like I have to be always the same. And that was some of the lessons I learned through my 20s. I hope this video will help you to go through 20s or whatever year you are right now, and will allow you through these Greek philosophies or through my examples of my life to face something that you are currently in, and will allow you to navigate that with flow and hopefully ease. It was very fun making this video, and I hope we'll see you soon.